Cool.
Ready?
Yeah, we're already rolling, actually.
Hi.
Hey. Hi. It's Thomas Mulready from Cool Cleveland. We are here at Exponent 2023, and we're here.
Just doing what we got to do when he's in my room.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
It's like I have no control over this situation.
Think Ernie Kovacs, kind of like comedy verite when we're doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, we can spin around till one of us throws up.
Well, I already had lunch. Don't do that.
I'm here with Besflores Nievera from Music Direct, and thank you so much for breaking out a little time and clearing the room. This was just random, but all of a sudden, it's in here.
We were, as you know, just before we went to air, we were dropping the Roxy music and just having some really good times and reminiscing about our concerts. And it's a beautiful
these
thing.
beautiful Salon 2s
Aren't
and
they the most gorgeous things in the world?
what are these limited edition 50th anniversary
50th anniversary
Mark Levinson?
amplifiers. There are only 100 in the world, and they're already selling like crazy. And just thrilled to be.
I promised myself we weren't going to talk about equipment this year. We're going to
Right.
talk about diversity, the lack thereof, the issues around it, and you've been kind enough to say you would speak on that topic. So tell me, as a man of color, as a professional in this business for many years, what's it been like, Beth?
I think in the nearly 42 years that I've been in the industry, I've been able to embrace a lot of different, attributes of the generations of consumers that have come into my life, both locally here in Chicago and nationally through our organization over at Music Direct. But I think one of the things that really is happening more now than ever is the acceptance of more people, of color and of inclusion in LGBTQIA type conversations. I enjoy being able to talk to everyone from couples to transgender. And they actually love talking about audio and love talking about music, which I think is really wonderful.
So you are seeing more. Obviously, we've been coming for maybe 10 years now to Expo, and we're seeing slightly more. But, we did just talk to John DeVore, and he was commenting he's been doing this 30 years, and it's just moving so slowly. It seems like the same old white guys are still in place. So it's happening, and you're seeing it. You're probably seeing it in retail as well. Your customers coming to you.
Yeah, I mean, to John's respect, because we're more boots on the ground in terms of retail, both on the virtual end as well as the conventional end and face-to-face communication. But I think to John's point, also we need more. We totally need more. We need a lot more stuff. In fact, the fact that marketing of audio equipment today, regardless of who the manufacturer is, you find yourself kind of wondering, what could they do more to attract more customers? Well, for starters, every ad needs to be a refreshed design. We're not talking about just, a typical, here's a 50-watt per channel amplifier and a white background.
Or the old Maxell tape ad with one guy sitting in the sweet spot.
In the sweet spot. But I also think that if there were publications that Advocate that would take an advertisement for stereo stuff, you probably would find yourself really seeing a new audience come to life in our world.
We had another guy, Thomas Jones, African American, just audiophile from Chicago. We spoke last night, and he said that everybody in this business needs to advertise in different places. Yeah, his point was to reach young people. So are you guys finding that? Are you doing more social media? Are you doing more paid advertising in different areas to reach out to specific audiences?
Well, as an organization, Music Direct definitely has been reaching out. We have a much stronger presence in terms of our social media footprint through Instagram, Twitter. I think we're actually doing a lot more hotter content to move the senses. I think the initial idea there for that type of audience is to get involved with music and also do a lot of teasing of the equipment that we offer as well. Where there might be a bit of a roadblock in that conversation has to do with, well, for openers, what kind of equipment do we really want to draw that individual in to create the relationship and potentially the buying power that they will have. So we're not going to sit there and do, with all due respect to Mark Levinson, we're not going to do, real hot tchotchke, type product like that. Instead, we're going to be looking at products that do better in terms of innovation and sell-through. So you look at the Leak Audio stuff that we've been promoting, the Stereo 130 and the brand new 230 integrated amplifier. Those are products that have a lifestyle component, but underneath the hood is some powerful stuff. Class AB amplification, Bluetooth opportunities, and in the case of the 230, it's even also HDMI EARC. So you can
so important because people want to hook it up to their TVs and they want to plug their turntable into it, and there's so few really pieces of equipment, even though they have these powered speakers now, that really will allow you to do that, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I think also what to look at in the grand scheme of things is the ease and use of a piece of equipment should also dictate to the ease and use of and listening to music through all of their content, whether it's streamed or otherwise for that matter.
Right. So it's about that entry level, right? And you guys have entry level equipment, and so you're talking about targeting entry level equipment to this new audience that hasn't really been a part of audio, right? I mean, is there a big focus? Obviously, it's a less lower price point and less profit, right? There's much more profit on a pair of the Mark Levinson speakers or the Salon 2s than there is on an entry-level component, correct?
So remember earlier today when you and I hooked up, when we were doing that conversation, that lecture that I was giving about making music possible with a really good piece of equipment. The conversation about the earbuds was came to mind on that chat.
How many hundreds of dollars people are spending on earbuds or these HomePods?
And you can take that same amount of money and create a very straightforward, very effortless, very musical system with a traditional pair of loudspeakers, a nice amplifier. The amplifier will probably have Bluetooth, fine. You're still able to stream all your content through Spotify and other stuff, and really get the message going.
The other thing with entry level that goes to it is what's going on in this room here with these JBLs that are really retro.
Yeah.
And retro is back. Retro is new again, right? And retro is a way to bring in this sort of, I don't want to call them hipsters because that's a derogatory, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's all coming back. Is that an opportunity though to reach out to a younger audience?
Well, you really got to look back at the era of the 1970s, at our age points when equipment from Marantz and many other manufacturers were really trying to do their vibe. Now you look at companies like JBL, which I'm here in the current room with, and you take a look at something as iconic as the L100 Classic, and everything old is new again. But thankfully, the technology to get it to new is really more enhanced because of the ability to play it through even better equipment than ever before, and I think that's really the fun part.
So age is one that's kind of easier to talk about. What about gender? What about reaching out to women and for the other 50% of the marketplace? I can't believe that there aren't more people literally targeting this untapped market and saying, wow, we could really make a lot of money if we could get that other 50% to buy something.
If manufacturers would be able to put something as discreet as a loudspeaker in a magazine, for fashion, if Architectural Digest, for example, actually opened up and said, "Hey, Harman, here's a full-page ad, with a pair of loudspeakers and a beautifully set, interior."
Well, they do it for the other magazines. They have them all. They have a photo editor and they photo direct the shoot, and they're polishing up the speakers and putting them in a beautiful setting for the high-end audio magazines. Can they not do that for an architectural magazine or a cooking magazine or something? I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here.
I think some of the challenges there is the way that influencers versus the type of publications you and I would love to see it in, and see it in bold colors and bold messaging, is really what's going to be key here. But at the same token, the fact that we have much more instantaneous multimedia in the form of, you guessed it, TikTok and other influencer things, you have that ability to just make the message seen. So when someone flashes for 30 seconds a pair of the new JBL in their home, that sets the precedent for more things to come.
And it's more about reaching those influencers online these days than a magazine ad anyways these days.
That's absolutely correct. And I think, let's face it, it's here, influencers are wonderful, wonderful people. They have a lot to say, and they do it in a very short time.
So age and gender. What about race? And again, I want to speak to you specifically. Have you had issues? Has there been? You've had a fabulous career, and you make it look easy, Bess. But when you look around, you realize you're one in a million here in this audience.
Well, there are others, both in the B2B side and the B2C side in our industry, in terms of Asian men and women who want to be able to be part of the discourse in audio, and it happens all the time. Let's just look at what's going on in places like China and Korea with the innovations that are going on. But making it more accessible for end users, it's another story. I think what we have to do in that situation is to continue the narrative of enjoy music. Let's show you the equipment as it happens.
And do you guys do the shows in Tokyo, in the Far East, where, again, there's an Asian audience, obviously, that's where they live. I mean, I don't know if you guys do any shows there, but why are we not seeing it sort of translate into the shows in this country or into the industry in this country?
Well, I think the shows in the United States, for example, especially with an international audience like Axpona over the past couple of years, it's a growing concept, because you look back to the CES and their decision to basically exit the high-performance audio part of the industry. That frustrated a lot of people, but it also set the tenor for exhibitions like the Munich Audio Show and other shows globally to present their wares in a different way. You asked earlier whether or not Music Direct would be attending shows of that caliber. Not our company per se, but our sister organization, MoFi Distribution, and our MoFi Electronics organization. Those are the kind of places that they'll be able to do shows in Tokyo, in South Korea and beyond.
Bess, it's always such a pleasure, because you are such a straight talker. You don't talk in bits and bytes. You talk about music and the passion, and you talk about getting to the heart of the music and not so much the equipment. But to get there, you might need a nice piece of equipment every once in a while. So you're here to help us there too.
It's great to drive the narrative, but more importantly, create the relationship between myself and those people who want to work with me. And here's a quick thing, and thank you again for those kind comments. It's always been my role to be not just a salesperson, because, well, that's what I am, but also to be the kind of person that helps you by holding you by the hand and carefully nurtures you into a wonderful place with your music through your equipment. And that can also turn into some of the most wonderful friendships, including ours, as we've known each other for so long. And I think that with that kind of messaging, we then get to network to more and more people, and we create this kind of wonderful community that's just rich with music and the gear that we love to listen to.
Well, keep up the good work. Thank you for breaking out some time here. It's a pleasure to see you. We sat in on your seminar this morning about that entry level, which I thought was a great way to introduce new people to this industry. Thanks for all the good work, Beth.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you again. Continued success with Cool Cleveland.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from Cool Cleveland here at Axpona 2023.